What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and we need to talk about Wish stock because there is something somewhat worrisome that I've noticed on the chart, and I need to warn you guys about it. So let's take a look at that. We have the chart right here, and Wish is actually looking pretty good today, right? We're up over 1%, and we were up yesterday. So this is basically just continuing the pattern of our bounce off of the $6 support level. Now, this is really good news for Wish. It means that we have officially found somewhat of a support, right? Hopefully, this will be proven again, right? If we end up getting that low, hopefully we won't drop through. It's my expectation that we won't. 6 seems like a very fair price for Wish, if you ask me. It seems like a very, perhaps even undervalued price, if you ask me. So what is wrong with this Wish chart, right? What are a lot of investors probably thinking about Wish, and why should they be somewhat worried if they're expecting for Wish to go up very much in the near future? Well, something that often happens with stocks and something that really befuddles a lot of investors is they think that, oh, this stock dropped a ton and, maybe some good news will come out, maybe some new statistics will come out, and they'll believe that this stock is worth, let's say, $10, right? Right now it's at $7.27. So a lot of investors will think that Wish is then supposed to go right to $10. However, what a lot of people don't realize is the market is inefficient. It doesn't price things exactly as they should be. I mean, oftentimes, good news will come out and it will actually drop the price of a stock, and sometimes the markets are manipulated. So there's a lot of stuff going on that stops this perfect situation from happening. Oftentimes, what will happen is a stock will bounce around in a certain range and eventually, make new highs and higher lows and end up getting closer to where it really should be. Now, a lot of investors think that Wish is worth a lot more than where it's currently at. So ideally, in their minds, Wish should be going up very much very soon. Now, something to take notice of, right, is this key $8, what used to be a support level, right? You can see that Wish was bouncing off of the $8 level many times until we actually rallied all the way up to 17. And I find it very likely that instead of just blowing right through this and going straight to 10, I think that it's more likely this will act as a resistance level now, right? Stocks often do turn old support levels into resistance levels, and the same goes for, if there's a resistance level, it often turns into a support level if the stock moves past that. However, with Wish, the opposite is happening, right? It moved lower than the support, so now I suspect that $8 will be a resistance. So a much more reasonable scenario to expect, right, is that, Wish might bounce up to 10, bounce up to 8 and then bounce down a little bit, bounce up, keep hitting that, and, maybe even move back down to 6, right? I think that it's very possible we'll be in this range for quite some time before we actually break out of it. Now, that's because, Wish has gotten into this area, and oftentimes with stocks, you can see on the long term, they do tend to trade for some significant amount of time, right? Wish hasn't in the past. It's kind of just been on a big downtrend, but really that's just because they IPO'd and a bunch of people thought they were overvalued at the time, and they ended up getting shorted a bit, which actually led to this little short squeeze right here. However, a lot of people are now thinking, okay, Wish is very undervalued. Let's let this thing shoot up, but they aren't necessarily taking into account the fact that Wish is likely going to be bouncing around in this range for a significant period of time. And when they do break out, it's not guaranteed that they'll just shoot up to whatever price you're thinking they will. And what's important to note, especially when trading options, right? If you're heavy on Wish options, it's really important to think about the expiration dates on those, and are those coming up soon? Because actually, if you look at the chart, you can see that, this in between these two red lines is 1 month. So if your options are 1 month out and, let's say they're a $10 option, I mean, that's a pretty optimistic thing to think that in just 1 month, right, from here to here, which is just going to move in a straight line and get to $10. And right, if it just gets to $10 by the end of the month, then you'll break even on the options if they're $10. You'll actually maybe lose a little bit of money if that's the strike price because you did pay the premium. So what's more realistic to think about is purchasing Wish options. If you have some Wish options already that are only a month, maybe you convert those into longer term options. I tend to prefer buying options that are more than a year out, that have more than a year to go, because I think that just gives a stock enough time, because you really can't time the market perfectly. And it's very tough, especially on those shorter time horizons, to say for sure, like, okay, yeah, Wish, it's going to be up, 20% over the next 30 days. It's very tough to do that. And you can make a lot of money if you're right, but you also lose pretty much everything if you're wrong. So that's a very risky thing to do. And I do think that it's important, to take account of the fact that Wish might very well be stuck in this range, right? We haven't necessarily tested the $8 level as a resistance. I'm just pointing that out as a very plausible resistance level because it has been a past support level. And what better place to form a resistance, which I suspect institutions, especially those who may have been shorting Wish, would like to do with it, right? I don't think they want this thing going up too soon. I think that they're probably going to try to hold Wish at a reasonable area. $8 makes a lot of sense to do that at. I can very well see Wish, maybe bouncing above to 850 and then getting pushed back down. And a lot of investors, the retail investors, might be discouraged by that and end up selling their shares. It could push Wish back down to 6. Who knows? But that's just something to take account of and be aware of, right? That this $8 level, especially if you have month-long options or maybe 2-month out options, to really be aware of this $8 level. And if you're hoping that Wish will be blowing past that sometime soon, I think it's going to need some really good news to do that. So that's what I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, feel free to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, only if you want, no pressure. But if you would like to do that, I would greatly appreciate it. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.